Well, you know, some days we've played quite a bit of horror games on this channel, and I'm still here and doing everything fine, but apparently these horror games are causing a lot of trauma and PTSD for years to come for many people. What am I talking about? Well, apparently an article out of the University of Montreal believes horror games are causing lifetime trauma. Well, out of the University of Montreal, this article comes. Video game trauma can last for years. Before we get fully into this, there is more things here to talk about than just this video game trauma. But what I got to talk about right now is you need to subscribe to the channel. You need to comment down below. Have you been scared? We have many jump scares in our live streams that we do here as donations and tips where you guys get to trigger them. I might jump, but at no point do I ever feel traumatized from this. It's a very interesting tale. Now, I have to say, certain games that I played as a teenager or a young adult, like Silent Hill, yeah, they were scary, but that was the point. It's fun to be scared. In no way do I feel like I've been traumatized by these games that I can always put down. So let's take a look. What are they talking about here? So in 5 seconds, just the synopsis here. Some horror video games leave players with wounds that take a long time to heal. An University of Montreal researcher finds. Cry of Fear is a horror video game that explores a widely range of particular sensitive topics from depression to self-harm to deletion and self-deletion. And Samuel Poulin knows the game well. Well, this game, Cries of Fear, is a free-to-play game. Came out in 2012. It was using Half-Life as the base model for the game. It's actually been played on Markiplier's channel and other big name channels, but it's a free game you can download and play at any time. I don't see anything in this game that's out of the ordinary. I downloaded it, I played it for about 5 minutes and went, this is whatever. This is a Half-Life mod. Sure, it's probably got some good jump scares in it overall, but in no way did I ever feel traumatized at the beginning. I didn't get far into it, but I don't think it's going to leave lasting impressions and something, this theory over it. It kind of equates to video games cause violence. Now video games are causing lifetime trauma. No, it's a video game. Put it down. If your kids are playing video games, as a parent, you might have to step in and say, listen, you might not be ready for this. We all remember movies of the past that scared us as a kid, and then we laugh at it today. And in particular, I know a lot of people, including myself, The Dark Crystal scared the crap out of me as a kid. I love it today because it's a Jim Henson puppetry. The Last Unicorn as a kid, I saw it very young as a kid. That movie, the devil that was in there, scared me as a kid. Today, I love watching that movie because it's something that's very great. However, because I know it scared me as a kid, I don't let my little one watch it today. I'll let him grow up a little bit and maybe reflect on these classics at a different time in our age. A lecturer and doctoral student in the Department of Art History and Film Studies at the University of Montreal has spent time analyzing and comes to a disturbing conclusion. Games such as Cry of Fear can trigger intense emotions in players, a type of videologic trauma that continues to resonate long after the game has ended, he found. We've played a lot of scary games on this channel, and in no case, I go back for more. I go back for more of these games because they are scary and they make me jump, but they're fun. I don't see this as causing trauma. Fright is inherent. Studies of horror in movies and video games have often suggested that the pleasure that players get from being frightened is rooted in games' inherent safety. As players move through the virtual environment, they've never in any real danger. Well, that's the whole point. It's a video game. You're not in danger. You get to go through the motions, but then you get the heightened fear factor of it. Bernard Persson, a professor in Poulin's department, has described fear as gameplay emotion. Well, yeah. But while the lecturer found the interpretation compelling, it didn't fully describe his own experience with cries of fear, or cry of fear. So to get a clearer picture, he turned to the field of traumatic studies. Traumatic studies has made significant headway since the 90s. We're no longer just looking at trauma caused by horrifying events such as deletion, car accidents, or assault. Researchers have shown that some people experience daily trauma from events such as clinical family abuse or insidious forms of microaggressions. Okay, so now we're on the topic of microaggressions. A video game called you a name. Are you traumatized from it? Is that what this is? Is that what this is? Is that what this study is? This is absolutely ridiculous at this point. Growing up, my teachers always told me, don't sweat the small stuff. Let it go and move on with your life. And that's where it comes down to. Are you playing a horror game now and then getting a microaggression in a horror game? Someone jumping and scaring you? Here it is. Every time one of you guys, during my live stream, every time you tip or donate, you're causing a microaggression on me. It would be inaccurate, however, to lump vigilantic trauma in with other forms of trauma, he added. Games such as Cry of Fear can blur the line between fiction and reality. When the two worlds bleed into each other, the player can get hurt. Well, yeah. If you are losing your sense of reality, you're having a mental episode, and you should be speaking to a professional. That's if you can't tell what's real and not real in your life, you should talk to a professional. Bleeding between worlds. A notion of spillover of bleed between worlds has been described in live action role-playing LARP, a popular subject of study by researchers in Nordic countries. What are you talking about? Live action role-playing is played around the world. White Wolf and Vampire. In particular, they looked at situations where the character embodies a fictional character. For example, let's say I'm LARPing and my character is in a relationship with another character. We're not a couple in real life, but the fiction may lead to start developing feelings for another person. That's when LARPing goes too far, and this is part of the issue that I've talked about with Dungeons and Dragons and sex and romance. How those lines need to be drawn, right? Dungeons and Dragons and LARPings have never been about the sex or the romance. And if you're going to the next step with those people that you're playing with, then you're asking them out on a date and actually going through the motions of something that you might find in common. That's outside of the LARP. That's outside of the thing altogether. Some LARP games in Nordic countries, apparently this is only a Nordic thing. LARPing is played around the world. We have the SCA that do like live action sword fighting that is considered LARPing in itself. This research is absolutely ridiculous. Nordic countries deliberately induced violence. Sensitive subjects such as people being assaulted sexually may be verbalized though they are not acted out. And because players physically embody their characters, extreme experiences such as these can leave a lasting mark on a player's psyche, even though they are fictional. First off, if you are LARPing, if you're live action role playing, and your character goes through a traumatic experience like that, it is your character that goes through the traumatic experience. You need to keep that separated. There is at some point certain things like what they're talking about here with assault of this kind. Those aren't normal topics of a role-playing game. They think that things like this can happen, but there's a certain line that maybe when these things are coming, if you get uncomfortable with these types of topics, that's where you need to draw the line, with the people you're playing with and say, listen, I'm not comfortable with this. Let's disengage from this and walk away from this situation. Yes, that happens with my character. Let's split that from the actual reality. If you think at one point these certain things are happening to your character in real life, I think you might want to talk to a professional once again. Video game players don't have quite the same experience, but emotions can still bleed from the character to the player. This can be the case with particularly violent video games such as Special Ops: The Line, in which players must use white phosphorus, a highly controversial incendiary weapon, to destroy the enemy camp, only to find that they have unwillingly killed dozens of civilians. Quotes at length from teacher Toby Shimthurst, description of the experience. I was the one who had to push the buttons and drop the bombs. Whether or not I knew I was doing it all at the time, I had a hand in killing those civilians. I did not experience the same trauma afterwards that the protagonist did, of course, but his reactions were certainly not too far from my own. I have taken thousands upon thousands of virtual lives, but these were the first for which I truly felt that I shared the burden of guilt. These researchers are absolutely insane and should end this research right now. They're insane. They've lost sense of reality to even put up an article like this. Rationally, I knew it was absurd. Yes. Afterwards, I reminded myself that these were virtual citizens, not real ones. So you had a struggle session with yourself. We're playing Pow World right now. And Pow World, you're sitting there, you're capturing cute, cuddly creatures. You're putting them to work as slaves, and then you turn around and you can harvest their organs and use them as food. What in the world would these researchers say to that? If you guys want to read this entire ridiculous research article from the University of Montreal, I will link this in the video if it's possible. I will try and put it down there. I'm going to end this video right here because this is just beyond absurd at this point. Have yourselves a great day. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I will see you again very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.